First ever test match at Guwahati, and first time that tea is taken before lunch in a test match in India or anywhere, I think. But it's a tea time that India will welcome a little more because they've just taken the wicket of Aiden Markram and broken what looked like a pretty solid opening stand. This is Bajaj Finserv Mutual Funds presents ESPNcricinfo Matchday. We'll hear from both Vernon, Philander as well as Saba, Karim. 82 for 1. You were expecting a few more wickets. Possibly could have been a wicket earlier with the chance that Markram dropped, but South Africa session in spite of the loss of Markram, Saba?
Yes, absolutely. And I thought that the South African batters are able to apply themselves much better on a surface that is far more truer than what we saw at the Eden Gardens. Red soil surface, it always encourages more bounce, and we saw that today. But there is some fizz of the surface now for the spinners. A couple of deliveries from Washi as well as Kuldeep Yadav. They did manage to get some turn and that extra bounce. So overall, I thought that both Markram and Ryan Rickleton, and they were able to apply themselves much better.
Yeah, better than the Eden Garden surface is slightly low-hanging fruit. But in all seriousness, this is a test match where we are going to be very focused on how the Guwahati pitch plays in its first ever test. It looks like an exciting or a good wicket. You spoke of those two balls that seem to really turn and bounce off Washington Sundar. What do you make of that?
Well, it just goes to show that now whatever moisture that we saw in the first half or in the morning session, all that has evaporated. One can see more of spin bowlers being operated in the post tea session. But I think it also requires a lot of grit and good solid technique to play, especially against spinners on this surface at Guwahati.
All right. Before we went on, Saba was saying Vernon Philander might have actually enjoyed bowling in the conditions we saw in that first session. Vernon, take it from there. Your impressions of the pitch and of that opening stand.
Yeah, I think first of all, let me start with the surface. Very impressed with the surface. I think you expect a day one surface to have a little something in it for the seamers. We saw a bit of lateral movement this morning from Bumrah, especially. Again, a wonderful spell by him. But again, I just feel South Africa, they'll probably be a little bit more accustomed to this kind of surfaces, where there has been a bit of lateral movement. I think very watchful from Rickleton as well as Markram. I mean, a pity, losing Markram just, before tea break. But you could almost sense that Markram intentionally try and force Bumrah a touch wide outside off stump, to try and get motive dismissals of LBW bowled out of play. But again, just the way they moved, they got into some fantastic positions technically. So, yeah, I mean, I said it from the get-go. I think South Africa would have learned a lot from its first test match. But just the way they applied themselves, I think there was a wonderful balance. I mean, it's a typical test match session, hasn't it been? 80, between 80 and 90 runs scored. The loss of one wicket. But the one thing that really stands out for me about this surface has been the bounce. And I think, once batters can trust the bounce, they can obviously, formulate the game plan around it. But yeah, I'm really, really impressed with the surface so far.
Yeah, bounce, and we saw that through the carry to Rishabh Pant as well, and it's generally true. I heard Manvinder Bisla say it's a red soil surface, which is not usually common that far east in India. Could you break that down with all the knowledge and science you have?
Yes, Raunak, because generally you see in the northeastern part of the country you'll have black soil because it encourages that kind of a surface. It retains its moisture, then it is easy to bat on, and as the test match progresses or as the day progresses, you would expect the black soil to hold firm. Now with this red soil surface, this is the first time ever I feel that in the northeastern part of the country you're having a red soil surface, and I briefly dwelled on that in our pre-game show, that red soil requires moisture on its own, and the only way you can get such kind of moisture is on coastal towns, for instance Chennai, Mumbai. So because of the humid conditions, the red soil holds a little longer. But unlike Mumbai or Chennai, in Guwahati, that will be the biggest challenge. So I feel this red soil, although it will encourage more bounce for the pace bowler as well as the spinners, but it will break much quicker compared to what we may see here in Mumbai or in Chennai. So I think that's why I said that the batters from both the sides, they really need to be extremely precise in their footwork when they encounter spin bowling. But it will offer more turn and extra bounce. And I think the close-in catches will come in the frame very, very soon.
Okay, all that kept in mind, were you surprised by India's tactics in the first session? No Ravindra Jadeja, and the first change bowler was Nitish Kumar Reddy.
Yes, well, if you have played Nitish Kumar Reddy in the 11, at times you are you feel or you're tempted to bowl him. But I think at that stage, since you already have 3 spin bowlers, it may not have been a bad idea to try Ravindra Jadeja just to see whether whatever moisture that is there on the surface, the Ravindra Jadeja is able to get some turn and bounce from that wicket or not. But because you had Nitish Kumar Reddy in the 11, that it made sense for Rishabh Pant to try him out. Although he did bowl well, but doesn't have the pace or that kind of lateral movement to trouble the South African batters.
Yeah, it seemed, Vernon, that Bumrah troubles batters on pretty much every surface. Bumrah is 1 for 7 in 6.5 overs. Nitish Reddy was the first change bowler, and there was no Ravindra Jadeja. What do you make of all that?
Very surprised that we haven't seen Jadeja up to now. I think he has that ability to, almost impact the game straight away. But yeah, just the way he operates, I think he brings the stumps into play.
Well, we will get Vernon fired up.
Sorry,
in
I'm
just
back.
a
Sorry.
second. There, he's back. Back he goes. Vernon Philander is back. Let's go back to him.
I lost him for a brief second. I think I'm very surprised that we haven't seen Ravindra, Jadeja up until now. I think he's such an impactful bowler. The reason being that he brings the stumps into play and he gets the ball to turn off the straight. And as a batter, you almost feel that you have to play it every single delivery. He's got fantastic angles, which he, obviously varies, on the crease. So again, very, very surprised, that we haven't seen him up until now. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of him, just after this, short tea break.
Okay, I've been to your lovely country many times, Vernon. Is that load shedding thing still on these days?
No, it's not load shedding. I'm not sure. There's something happening in your part of the world. I keep losing you guys. It must have something to do with the result that we've seen in the first test.
Oh God.
Well, Vernon, we're not very good or used to losing at home, so we're still learning to deal with this. So allow us some time, right? Allow us. Good man. Vernon Philander is still nipping it around at just the right spot.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. In all seriousness, what kind of session do we expect post lunch? Do we expect a lot of spin here? Do we expect a proactive South Africa against spin, or does one need to grind and graft?
I think from India's perspective, one can expect Bumrah to bowl another 3 to 4 overs, get Siraj to replace Bumrah. From the other hand, we may see a little hint of reverse swing, maybe far too early in the test match or in the day to expect too much of reverse swing. But with the wobble seam, Mohammad Siraj becomes extremely effective. So you can expect Mohammad Siraj. But from one end, seam bowling attack, and from the other, I expect spinners to operate. But as I said, for the South African batters, they've done well by playing in a much gritty manner in the first session.
Yeah.
I do expect a similar kind of an attitude from South African batters post-tea as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was at that ground recently, and it's a nice, lush outfield.
Yeah.
It also doesn't look like there's a lot of parallel surfaces like we saw at the Eden Gardens, which I think were also quite dry. Do you sense that reverse swing won't have as much of an impact here than in the first? Would we see it at all on day one?
I know, Raunak, but rest soil, I do expect the ball to reverse because the surface looks to me quite aggressive. Even the surrounding area, although the entire outfield is lush green, but I think the surface area or the wickets adjacent to the main wicket still looks pretty brown to me. So one can expect Bumrah and Siraj to get some reverse. So maybe later during the day.
All right. Now, Wayan Mulder was very proactive, wasn't he, Vernon, when he played the spin in the first test, in the first innings. How does South Africa approach the second session, you think?
I think we're going to see much more of the same. I suppose the big talking point would be to try and bet time in this test match. I think in the first test match, given the nature of that surface, it almost, asks of the batters to be a little bit more proactive, to take a couple of risks. But I don't think that is the case right here. I think you can trust the surface. And once you get yourself in, there is runs to be collected. So I think it's going to be a matter of betting time. I think first innings runs, I think I said it in the first test match as well, I do foresee that this surface will turn, a lot more on, given day 3 and 4. So this first innings, will be of paramount importance. So I feel South Africa will take the traditional approach. I think they're going to try and strike a balance between defense versus attack. I don't think it's going to be an all-out method of attack. But I think given the way they have, approached their batting innings, they will be looking to score. But I think it's going to be a more concerted effort.
All right, it'll just feel like that the first inning score will be decisive in how this test match plays out. But let's see what happens in the second session. Let's get predictions, and I take us back to the first test, day 1, where at this first break, which was the lunch show, Sanjay Bangar smashed it out of the park when he said 5 wickets in this session. We was like, where's this coming from? And he was proven to be spot on. Vernon just said, well, why didn't you ask him to fill the rest of the chart? So now, high expectations from Saba Karim when he predicts how this session might play.
Well, India would love to pick at least 3 wickets in this session because the ball has started to turn. And I think India's strength lies in their 3-spin combination. Albeit, if you have Bumrah, he remains your biggest strength. But on the kind of surface that we have seen so far, I do expect all the 3 spinners to come into the picture. India would be happy at lunch break to get South Africa 5 down.
You see them getting there, though, 3 or 4 wickets in the session?
Yes,
you see
I
it
think
happening.
so. And we saw that happen in the first test match also. But once the ball starts to turn, there are so many demons that gets into your mind. And I think that's what falters your footwork and your decision making.
Vernon, all yours?
I'm so happy I don't have to compete against Sanjay, but I'm hearing this 5 wickets down again at lunch. I'm gonna disagree again because I do feel it's a much better surface. I think perhaps India will pick up 2 wickets. I think we can expect a couple of wickets to go down, with the spinners in operation. So I'm gonna go. South Africa is gonna collect between 90 and 100, and they're gonna lose 2 wickets in this session post tea.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Vernon Philander. Well, if we do see a wicket or 2 fall, we will see Temba Bavuma. It's the talk of the town now, and we wait to see how he goes. The South African captain. Vernon, thank you very much. Saba, thank you very much. Let's pick up the chat at the end of the middle session when there is a 40-minute break for lunch. So we'll break it down all for you on Bajaj Finserv Mutual Funds presents ESPNcricinfo Matchday. Join us then.